The Manny Pacquiao vs. Keith Thurman prediction and preview episode. We break it down next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Share on all forms of social media. Leave us a comment below. Welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Fights. I'm sure by this point you have all heard the news that we lost one of the great ones, Sweet Pea Whitaker. Left this world at the age of just 55. I want to touch on that for just a moment. There were three fighters I've seen in my 28 years of watching boxing. I'll be 36 next month. Watching boxing since I'm 7, 8 years old. There's only been three fighters in that time who were light years ahead of everyone else. Three guys where simply nothing you could do, regardless of who you were. There was no adjustment you could make to beat these guys. All right, there are three guys who were simply much better than whoever they were fighting, and there was nothing that other person could do. Those three guys are Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, and Sweet Pea Whitaker. Whitaker was, obviously came first, about late 80s, early 90s. He's one of the guys that helped me fall in love with boxing. I mean, you couldn't hit him. He was a wizard in there. There was nothing you could do. Like, go back and look at how an aging Pernell Whitaker embarrassed and tools on a prime Oscar De La Hoya. It's incredible. I mean, think about an aging Pernell Whitaker who didn't really take care of himself. Is in there with a primed Oscar De La Hoya, and he embarrasses him. He drops his hand, he makes a miss, and he tools on him. That's how good he was. He could outclass and embarrass and take time out of his day, time out of the fight to laugh at a primed Oscar. Think about that. Something a prime Floyd couldn't do to an aging Oscar, right? Like a primed Oscar was embarrassed by P. He wasn't an over-the-hill Oscar, an aging Oscar, wasn't embarrassed by a prime Floyd. So think about that. Keep that in mind. That's how good Sweet Pea was. Even when he was over the hill, he could embarrass an all-time great guy in his prime like Oscar. I grew up and fell in love with boxing in the 90s. Sweet Pea was one of those guys who made me fall in love with the sport. His wizardry and style was something to behold. One of the 10 greatest fighters of all time for sure. One of the first fights I remember watching, the fight that I was captivated by, was Pernell Whitaker dismantling Buddy McGirt at the Garden. His next fight was the one-sided beatdown robbery in the Alamo Dome against Chavez, and even though I was only like 10 years old, you could see this guy was something different. His talents and abilities and skill set were absolutely unique. There was nothing else like it. I don't often get starstruck, but I was able to meet Pernell Whitaker just a few months ago at the Turning Stone Casino in upstate New York. He was at the Hall of Fame. He was at the casino which is right near the Hall of Fame, for the Dimitri Bivol Joe Smith Jr. fight. It was incredible. I was like, that's Sweet Pea. That's P. That's one of the best fighters ever. That was only a few months ago. That was the day of the weigh-in. It was shortly after the weigh-in. I went downstairs in the casino, and bang, there was Pernell Whitaker. It's a moment I won't forget it. And then the next day he's at the fight. And he was in press row with us, and just a few feet from the great Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. I was talking boxing with him. It was an incredible experience, one that I will never, ever forget. And that was only a few months ago, and now he's gone. It's hard to believe. Rest in peace, champ. All right, so it's here. It's Fight Week. Fight Week has approached us. One of the biggest and best fights of the year is about to go down. Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman will fight for the unified and undisputed WBA version of the welterweight title. First, this is ridiculous how both or either of these guys could have belts at this point. Keith Thurman has fought just once in 2.5 years, and that was against gatekeeper Josecito Lopez. And one time took a majority decision over the veteran aging gatekeeper. Could you imagine not being stripped of your belt when you refused to defend it for 2 years? It's amazing. His WBC was long gone. Mauricio took that belt from him. Technically, Keefy Poo vacated, but he didn't want to fight Thurman. Thurman didn't want to fight Garcia or Porter. He wanted to fake injuries and whatnot. He wanted to avoid big big tough fights and fake more injuries. So the WBC stripped him, but somehow the WBA let him get away with that nonsense and let him keep his WBA super version of the 147-pound strap. So he has that. While over here, Lucas Matisse beat some dude we never heard of named Tiwa Kiram, who took a dive and captured the WBA World Regular title, or whatever they're calling it this week. WBA World, sometimes it's called WBA Regular, whatever it's called this week. And then Pac stopped Matisse for that version of the WBA, whatever we want to call that, which he's now defended against Adrian Broner and will unify his version of the belt with Keith Thurman. So we will have the two WBA champs fighting to unify 1/4 of the belts in the welterweight division. This is what we have, boxing fans. This is what we get. This is what we get. But look, I'm into the fight. It's a good fight. So let's put the nonsense with titles aside. It's a good fight. I think it's I think in their last fights back in January, let's go down that road. We're only a week apart. Pacquiao clearly looks more impressive in his fight against Broner than Thurman did against Josecito. Pacquiao clearly beat Broner. We had the fight 10 rounds to 2, 118-110 in favor of Pacquiao over Broner. That's wider than we had it for when Porter or Mikey beat AB. We had Mikey beating Broner 117-111 and Porter beating Broner 115-112. So that's an impressive win for Pacquiao. He had him in a world of trouble there. Nearly got the stoppage in round 9, I believe. And I think AB, he dominated AB. And AB's good, not a terrific. He's probably a B+ level fighter. A much better fighter than Josecito Lopez. Josecito Lopez nearly iced Keith Thurman and dominated most of the second half of that fight. Keith's defense looked flawed. Even in the early rounds, which Keith was winning, he was getting whacked over and over again. He couldn't stop the slow-fisted, flat-footed Josecito Lopez from scoring with power shots from right hands. In the second round, he stopped Josecito. Should have stopped them altogether. He dropped him, should have stopped them. But that killer instinct, that one-time power and killer instinct that Thurman used to have, certainly looks to be gone, or at the very least severely diminished. And then he himself, could pull a stoppage, and then he himself almost got stopped in the 7th round. Keith Poo hung on for dear life. At one time, put those legs in motion. He was able to stay out of any more serious trouble after the 7th and 8th rounds. Hung on, took a majority decision victory against Josecito Lopez. So that was their last fight. Broner got dominated by Pacquiao, one-sided, exactly what Pac should have done, and Keith Thurman struggled to a majority decision over Josecito Lopez. Josecito Lopez, guys, this is a guy that got completely iced by Andre Berto and destroyed by Berto. Really. And you managed a majority decision over him. Wow, Keefy. Not great. But let's break down the fight now. It's a good fight. Both guys are stylistically a problem for the other. Thurman doesn't do well with southpaws. He doesn't do well with southpaws who can hit. He doesn't seem to take a shot real well. We've seen him in trouble with. We saw him in trouble with Josecito. We saw him in trouble against Collazo. So this is a problem. Pacquiao can hit. Pacquiao is fast. And he's a southpaw. Those are things that Keefy doesn't do great with. Pacquiao struggles with movers and athletes. Guys like Keith Thurman, guys who won't come straight forward at him. So I think this fight actually kind of looks like Pac versus AB. I think there's a lot of missed punches. I think there's some caution in the fight. I think there's bits of explosion in the fight. I think there'll be some combustion, but most of that combustion will be missed shots. I think the first 5-6 rounds will be fairly even. Maybe 3-2 Pacquiao, something like that, going into the 6th, and then Keefy starts to slow down as he did in his last 2 fights, as he did with Collazo. He starts to slow down. His gas tank ain't great, and Pac starts to slam him with counter lefts and throws those 4 or 5 punch combinations. gets him in a lot of troubles in round 7 and 8. Possibly scores the knockdown in those rounds. From that point on, call it the last 4 rounds, from round 9, 10, 11, 12, Keith Thurman just gets on his bicycle, runs out the clock, and drops his title. He'll collect his check for about $10 million, give or take. Yeah, that's a nice payday. $10 million, roughly, is what he's rumored to make if it hits the pay-per-view expectations. And then retire to China that way he can play his flute full time. So I take Pac by unanimous decision. Give me scores of like around 117, 111, something like that. 9 rounds to 3 for Pacquiao, something like that is what I think we're looking at. I think Pacquiao dominates the second half of the fight. It's the 30-year-old who gasses into and tries to survive and then retires, not the 40-year-old Pacquiao. So that's how I see this one going down. I think this is a cash-out fight for Keefe. I think he retires. I think he has already said that if he loses to Pacquiao, he will retire, and that's exactly what's going to happen. I think when we move into the later rounds and Keefe really starts to get pushed, and he'll more or less quit. I don't want to say quit because he's not throwing the towel or quit on the stool. He'll just try and survive and run out the clock, and we will never ever see Keefe ever again. So I think it's the 30-year-old Thurman who will look fatigued and old and will be his last fight. And Pacquiao will take a unanimous decision in which the first 5 rounds, let's say, will be even. Pacquiao takes control 6, 7, 8, and then from that point on, he has the lead in the scorecards. Thurman just looks to survive and not get knocked out, and he's able to do that with his athleticism. We go to the scorecards, 117, 111, something like that. Manny Pacquiao. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. Let us know what you think. Leave us your predictions. Definitely let us know who you think is going to win. What you thought of my breakdown for a very somber edition of Tuesday Night Fights from Texas to the world. This is 3D Boxing saying thank you and God bless. Rest in peace, P. Rest in peace.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.